All right, y'all. Hey, this is Scott from Aquarium Specialty. I am here with Carlos from Coral View, and today we're going to talk about the launch. It's a new product they just launched, and so once we talk about this, we're going to move over to the Minnow and see what all these devices do. And after that, we're going to probably do a break and then cut into the Maven, which is coming out later this year. It's coming out in what, the fall, I think?
Yes, fall. We're hoping for Black Friday.
All right. So anyway, let's talk about the launch. I want to find out more about this and what it does. And they actually just came out, what, this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, because we've got a few of them in our booth, actually, and they're available.
Yesterday
right
was
behind.
The first day you can purchase it. Then you can purchase it.
All right, cool.
Device.
Well, let's get started. Let's talk to me about why the launch is an important device and what it can do for your aquarium.
Okay. So, HYDROS has always been known for being modular.
Yeah.
Which means that you can construct a system, whether you like a big system, whether you have a calcium reactor, you don't have a calcium reactor, we don't lock you into one size fits all. Yeah. So we don't lock you into one device that can do everything, or we push you to that one. What you can do is you can create your own modular system that works for you. The problem with that is that when you add versatility, you're adding complexity. And we wanted to figure out a way to make it easy for a beginner to come in, look at our HYDROS family and say, okay, I can start with that. Because the question that we always had is like, ooh, you guys have great modules, you have all this options, but where do I start? It's kind of like a little too much. So we thought, it's like, how can we make it so easy that even if you know nothing about the HYDROS, you can look at the device and kind of intuitively make some assumptions and say, okay, I'm looking at the device and like, okay, I can tell what it's right. going to do. And at the same time, for our partners, the stores, is owners, you are busy. You're doing all the things. Do you have time to sit down and train with us? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But what I want to do is I want to be able to tell, a customer comes to you, Scott, and says, hey, how do I start HYDROS? You look at it and maybe, let's just say you just look at it and it's like, oh, here, you start here because you got the AC outlets, you have the sensors, and you can describe that to your customer and feel good about it. And the customer walks out happy.
Yeah, I really like that because, in years past, if you were trying to identify a customer or what they needed, and then they come into your store and they say, do I really need an aquarium controller? And one of the first questions we used to ask was, well, how big is your tank?
Yes.
And because we wanted to know what their budget was, and that's kind of a way to get there in a roundabout way.
Correct.
And so if somebody had a small tank, we wouldn't want to try to sell them a $1,200 controller system, because that's just like more expensive than what they paid for their tank.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard to justify spending that kind of money. So now they can get into a controller to do basic functions, and then if they really stay in the hobby for long term and they decide to get a bigger tank, then they can kind of advance their equipment needs along with their tank size and needs for the tank.
And the great thing about this, is that once you start to grow and get that bigger tank, then you can start adding more modules to it and grow and add more options to it. But you can still keep that as the primary, And then when you start adding more modules, then you get into the redundancies where you have multiple brains. Mm-hmm. You have that you can, if one goes down, the other one backs up, and you have access to the cloud and all those other features that you don't have with an individual controller just because it's just one.
So as far as the app goes, you have one app, right?
That's correct.
All devices can go on that app.
Every single device.
And so you can just add a device and tell your app what device you have, and then you can set it up that way.
Absolutely.
From what I understand, too, we have a couple of HYDROS set up in our showroom and in our farm, but with this device, you've got all these different ports on here. So let's talk about what this unit does here itself.
Okay. So you got 4 green ports.
Right.
One thing about HYDROS, and you see on every single HYDROS device, is everything is color-coded, which makes it a hell of a lot easier for the beginner to not plug in the wrong thing. But not only that, you're color-coded, but if you look at every single port, there are different pins, a different number of pins. So not only is it color-coded, but also there's different pins that don't allow you to connect something that is not supposed to go there. Okay, that makes it easier. Everything is screwed on.
Yeah, this is a BNC, right?
Yeah, no. Oh. This is a BNC connector right here.
So
this is what we call a GX12 connector.
Okay.
Which comes from the car industry, airbags, CAN bus, and also from the airplanes. But anyway, we have sense ports. We have 4 sense ports right here. Now, people ask us, okay, so what can I connect with it? Think of it as a universal sense port. It's almost like a universal remote control. Okay, you buy our universal remote control, and then on the app or the control you tell it, okay, I have a LG TV and it's this model. I have a receiver and it's this model and this brand. So you tell it what you want. So you can plug a temperature sensor, a TDS meter, a water sensor, a leak detector, a flow meter, whatever you want. Then you plug it into this universal port, and then on the app you tell it what it is. So you can switch things around. You don't have to purchase a specific module for a specific input.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's good.
Okay. Then we have 4 drive boards. And these are kind of like overlooked a lot of the times. They're 12 volts. So the ATO pump, a little ATO pump, that's a 12-volt pump. You have little lights, they're 12 volts. And what I wanted to say is that with this ones right here, do I want to waste an actual big AC 120 volt outlet for a 12 volt pump? The other controllers, you have to. You have no options. With this one, you put in the ATO pump right here. You put your cabinet lights right here. If you have a small nano tank, small nano tanks, their skimmer pumps are usually, the little tanks, their skimmers are usually 12 volts. That goes right here. And that frees up. Now, you don't have to worry about the ATO. You don't have to worry about the skimmer. Now you can put a heater. You can put your big lights right here. You can put something else, another pump.
Yeah, like or a refugium light if you have a refugium. Yeah.
Anything like that. So once you think about the 12 volt ports, then this machine can actually handle far more than you can visually look at it. You know?
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to cover? Or does that pretty much sum it up for the most
You
part?
have pH port right here, and you have a salinity probe right here.
Right.
So there's a little TLC for the more advanced users.
Okay.